this is John for MTG Nexus coming at you with another Modern is Valki video, otherwise known as Wizards Didn't Do Anything, not that I honestly expected them to this quickly. As a friendly reminder, if you do like Modern content, please consider subscribing to our YouTube channel. And here we go with a non-blue Valki list, partially because the Valki list's value continued to go whoop, and it's getting harder and harder to borrow them on mana traders. Mainly because Force of Negation and Valki's combined values, I believe, are about 800 tickets at this point. And my borrowing value is around 1,000 usually, so, you know. So, instead we're switching over to the Jund version, see how that does. This is the version that won Saturday's challenge. Couple things in the sideboard I'm not quite, thrilled about going into a league. Mindberg traps could easily be Leyline of Sanctities. Hard to say whether we're going to run into more of Tibalt's Trickery decks or Burn decks. So that's kind of a sideboard slot to keep an eye out for. Beyond that, from what I've heard about this version of the deck, its main vulnerabilities are aggro decks and the mirror match, especially to the blue versions of the mirror. So that part doesn't surprise me. As far as differences between this and the blue version, this one's a little bit more conditional, with Demonic Dread being part of the package as opposed to Ardent Plea. Demonic Dread obviously requires there to be a creature in play. Now we are playing a fair bit of creatures: 3 Season Pyromancer, 4 Magus, 3 Bone Crusher Giant, and as well as Bloodberry Elf in the mid to late game. But you know, we are a little bit more conditional with our Demonic Dreads. You know, Violent Outburst obviously is the same card it's been in any of the other decks, so that's not really a big deal. A couple copies of Maelstrom Pulse is a little bit of interaction in addition to your Bone Crusher Giants and creatures. Like I said, this version is probably a little bit more vulnerable to creatures than the last version we've been playing. So we'll see how that holds up, but you know, we still have the same ridiculous ability to Valki on turn 1 or 2. We're playing 7 copies of Blood Moon in this list, or 8 copies of Blood Moon in this list. So, you know, we have a different angle of attack than our Force of Negations and our bunch of sweepers. So we'll see how that plays out against the meta. Not really a whole lot else. This version is playing at least a copy of Blast Zone. So you do have 3 outs to hate cards in the main deck alone. And the sideboard, there's a little bit of other outs to hate cards, but you know, it's a little bit different obviously than having access to Brazen Borrower and Teferi. Sideboard, you have a 2nd copy of Blast Zone and 3 copies of Kolaghan's Command. So Blast Zone gives you outs to Deafening Silence. Kolaghan's Commands give you outs to Pithing Needle, which is another card that's been picking up in some of the hate piles. 2 copies of Anger of the Gods, 1 copy of Damnation as sweepers against the aggro decks. 4 copies of Leyline in the Void, primarily here for Upsell spells, but also comes in again, obviously, Dredge and such. And Mindberg Trap was probably a conscious decision by the pilot, which I forget whose list this is exactly, but probably a conscious decision by the pilot to, you know, have the outs to the Trickery deck itself. So, that said, let's hop into a league and see how this version does. I mean, obviously people are hoping this deck gets banned soon. The thing with Wizards is Wizards not going to ban things in the first week, as much as we may or may not want that. It's just not how Wizards operates, or rules changes, or whatever else. I see prelims are starting to not fire for Legacy and Modern. You know, once the numbers start to go down, Wizards starts to pay attention a little bit more. Whether the metagame's solved or not, that's a whole nother can of worms. So what does this hand do? We are on the draw. I need to draw a 3rd land to do anything. I think we keep this hand. We have Bone Crusher Giant at least to interact onto if we absolutely have to. Alright, looks like we're up against Burn 2, which is ironic. But at least they don't have a 1-drop creature to really punish us here, so... Still need to draw a 3rd land. Alright, there's the 3rd land. Opponent could use something like a Boros Charm here to punish this line, so maybe I was just supposed to main phase this. Okay. Tibalt doesn't trigger Eidolon. Going to 6 is obviously not ideal here, but so I'll force them to pop their land. Or apparently they just have Boros Charm chilling in hand. Okay. Could our opponent even have chilling in hand that they can't cast? Gotta be dead here, right? Oh, okay. 2, 3, 4, 8, 11. Two, 4, 8, 11. But I got one guy as a blocker just in case. Am I dead? All right. This is where not having the ley line is going to come back to bite us in the backside, but not much we can do about it. Interesting hand. I don't think we can keep it, though. And actually, it's not terrible. If we draw a land, we get to turn to, like, Season Pyro. Probably Gemstone Caverns on Valki. Oh, they put us on the play. Interesting. That's kind of a... Oh, no, we're on the play because we lost. Dur-dur-dur. Should have been able to fetch a painless land. That may have come back. That may come back to bite us here. I guess I grab a... So we can't pulse anyway, so I guess we just cast Bone Crusher Giant. Maybe I was supposed to get Blood Crypt with that. Kind of hard without having access to a Triome, you know. Takes forward, kill our Bone Crusher Giant. Pretty sure we're done here. Opponent's got 3 cards in hand. They're clearly all non-lands. See if they kill the Valki or if they go after me. Oh. It's a good chance we're dead. The odds of them having a haste creature seem relatively low here, so I'm just going to try to get them dead, but we're probably dead on the untap, so... As I mentioned before we started the league, the Mind Ray Trap slot really seemed like the flex slot of, do I want to beat Trickery or do I want to beat Burn? So if these were 4 ley lines, we probably would have had a decent shot there. But without ley line, I just don't think we have enough relevant cards. We're kind of like a bad Jund deck in that case. Burn just doesn't care and they kill you. Probably like the one matchup besides the mirror that this version is like inferior against than the version we were playing the other day. You know, the version that had 4 lane line of Sanctity versus the version that doesn't, plus, you know, a little bit more. Okay, I keep turn 1 Blood Moon and hope that's good enough. That is an interesting question. Sure. This could turn out poorly, but, you know. Fetch a basic forest, I think. Is there more black cards or green cards in our deck? Technically green, looks like. Unfortunate. Joke's on you, I ain't got crap in my hand. Are we up against Mardu? I am so confused. Well, clearly ley lines are going to be good in this matchup. Hope we rip a land, I guess. Ever didn't have it. Which one you killing? Interesting. Okay, so they have a bolt in their hand. Okay, I exiled this with Valki. I shouldn't need to... There we go. kill you on the untap. Alright, our opponent figured it out. Elementals. Interesting. I mean, Blood Moon seems okay against them, but it's not like super exciting. Feels like we want to be more interactive than anything else. What can they bring in against us that would stop the combo? Mainly Pithing Needle? Yeah? Well, turn 0 Leyline, turn 2 Violent Outburst, if they don't disrupt us. Seems good. Wow, that's loud. Just gonna hold this and see. Like, obviously, if they play Skelemental here, we're gonna want to have a Bone Crusher Giant or Kolaghan's Command up. So they're most likely to take Simian Spirit Guide here. Am I okay with that? I think the answer is yes. Took Bone Crusher Giant. Interesting. Might indicate that they have a Skelemental they're chilling out in hand with. going to play that and pass. I want to hold up Kolaghan's Command here, just in case they have a Skelemental chilling out. So interesting. They brought in Blood Moons against the Blood Moon deck. Seems like a poor choice. Can add mana and not take one. As far as what? Oh. Yeah. Doesn't not... Oh, you're talking about the Sunbaked Canyon. Yeah, that would be probably the correct play. Yeah, there are very few games where a resolved Tibalt doesn't win if you can maintain parity until that point. That's why I questioned my opponent bringing in Blood Moon, but I guess if they had nothing else to bring in, it makes some amount of sense, but still feels like really, really suspect. Like, at this point, you can't go into a league not respecting Tibalt, so I honestly think it's just foolish on my opponent's part, but like, I went in this league with this particular deck knowing that I was either going to play Burn or play a Trickery, and the 4 cards in my sideboard were the flex choice, you know? So I immediately played Burn and lose. You know, that's part of what goes on with Modern. You know, even in this warped metagame, that doesn't change. I still prefer the blue version, but with the values of card of Force of Negation and Valki just continuing to climb, I just can't continue to borrow the blue deck. Well, that's the aim. That's the aim. We'll see what happens. Depends on how many more burn decks and if we play against the blue mirror. I know a lot of people joke about this deck being like Hogak or Eldrazi, but everybody forgets in the early days of those decks, there were decks that could beat them. Like with Hogak, it was Burn, and there were a few other decks that could potentially like race it. And then they banned Bridge from Below, and it actually made Hogak get better, and then not even Burn could compete speed-wise. And then in the early days of Eldrazi, people forget that until the blue-white version of Eldrazi became the primary thing. So we're on the play. Once again, is a fast Blood Moon good enough reason to keep this hand? I don't think so. Like, this hand's far more fair, but I still think we keep this hand. And what am I putting back? Guess I'm putting back Pyromancer and Praying here. Probably just going to fetch Basic Forest with this, but you never know. Alright, we're against a blue deck, so we're in a little bit more trouble. We're probably up against the mirror, honestly. Castle of Antris, okay. So we're technically during our turn, so they could still have Force of Negation up. I don't know. Some spots I feel like I'm supposed to go for it there, and other spots it feels like grab Forest with that, grab Swamp with that. This feels like it's getting countered in some which way. Hopefully they have to use a Force of Negation here, and we can Blood Moon them. Do they even think about Blood Moon here? Yeah, a little bit. Alright, so do they have another Force of Negation? I guess we'll find out. Fact or fiction, sure. Do you like remand or a bunch of useless crap? Apparently they like remand. Are we gonna play anything? So far we're 1-1. We lost a burn, which is not a surprise. And then we beat some type of 5-color elemental shenanigans. So they'll probably get the remand out of their hand, most likely, maybe. Yep. Then I can land Megas, because there's nothing they could have here, and then we can just kill them next turn. Excuse me. Alright. We have absolutely nothing for the control matchup. Well, Burn is a bad matchup for this deck because this deck can establish board control quite easily, just like really any deck or any control deck can, but then it gets closed out because it can't stop the burn spells. So these 4 Mind Break Trap are kind of like the flex slot. You either die to electric or trickery, or you die to burn. This really feels like the main flex slot is like, do you, or I guess these, you know, I mean, theoretically, we could bring in Leyline of the Void against this deck, but I really think we're up against the, can I land a fast Blood Moon, or can I land a fast Tibalt, or we're dead. I don't think we're winning our grinding game against them, because I think they're just better positioned in the grinding game. The only question is do I bring in something like Kolagon's Command to fight like potential Pithing Needles and such? I don't think I do. I think I just actually click submit. The 2 Maelstrom Pulses are fine against just like random stuff. Burn doesn't care about Tibalt, but it does. It depends on the way your deck is structured as this Tibalt's deck. The Jund deck doesn't really have the tools to make it matter. The blue variants, some of them do, some of them don't. Some of them play like timely reinforcements and such, and others of them play ley lines. Alright, so Sands a keep. The only question becomes, what am I pitching? Probably Demonic Dread. Could be the Maelstrom Pulse, but I really do want outs to random nonsense. And we have 23 other lands in our deck, so the odds are we're going to draw another land at some point. So just think Demonic Dread's the pitch. Just because the odds of us having a creature in play that matter are kind of whatever. See what we're playing around. Be nice to snag a Neuro here too. That could really mess with them a little bit. Cryptic Command, Force of Negation. I mean, that's a hand. Opponent's draw was a Shark Typhoon. Hopefully they didn't draw another piece of interaction. Looks like they're using the Force of Negation. Alright, good chance this game's over now. Or I could just Blood Moon them. That's always an option. Yeah, this gives them Ether Gust, which is whatever. So Tibalt just resolves. Okay, so the game's over. Don't want to cast that arrow. I just don't. I mean, I guess I could, but does it really serve any purpose to me to put Uro in their graveyard? I don't think so. I'm gonna get them dead. 2, 4, 6. Yeah, that's lethal. Alright, so we can beat blue decks. Just have to overwhelm their counter spells, apparently. So, turn 2, potentially? Seems reasonable. What am I pitching is the question mark. Am I pitching a Valki or am I pitching a Bone Crusher? I guess we're pitching a Bone Crusher. Let's see what we're up against. I'm curious. Probably Heliod combo. Oh no. What is this? Oh, sneaky, sneaky opponent. Tisk, tisk. The hell is going on here? 4 colors 5-color stuff. Interesting. I'm moderately intrigued. But my blood moons just don't really care about this. Grab a basic forest because we kind of can here. That's the card we're hoping for. I'm not swinging my Valki into that. It's not worth it. Okay, they're a Valki deck. I can respect that. Oh, they're a Titan deck too. Shocker. Yeah, pretty much. Seems like the right call, you know? I guess if they have Dryad, it could get annoying. Opponent's playing an interesting build of Primetime. I wonder what's holding it all together. Sure, let's cascade into another blood moon, why don't we? Seems like a reasonable choice. Probably gonna go get a basic forest here. Yeah, that's really skewing your mana base. I mean, you know, you're really taking a risk there. Come on, I wanted to resolve a Primetime opponent. That's not fun. I don't even know how to sideboard. Their deck is something. Like, what do I even bring in? Just anti-meddling mage crap? They showed us blue, so they could easily have Spell Pierce, too. Yeah, I don't think I really like any of these cards, honestly. I think we just click Submit and hope Bone Crusher, Giant, Blast Zone, and Maelstrom Pulse is enough to deal with Meddling Mage. I really think we're on more of the Moon plan than anything else in this matchup. Like, that's the other thing with these builds, right? Is just like the blue version's probably superior, but just the dumb ability to like turn 2 Blood Moon under so many circumstances is just dumb. Like, I mean, a lot of decks don't care about Blood Moon, but there's a lot of decks that do. You know, Tibalt's a great card. Um, I mean, yeah, I guess we keep this hand. We don't have... Yeah, Sam's reasonable enough, I suppose. Alright, Lucarian. Hope you have a good day, man. Oh, turn 2 Meddling Mage. How do you hope to win here? Da Fook? Opponent is a Bring to Light deck on top of being a... Wow. I think we take Wood Elves here. Really looking for a moon here, though. The blue version's boring. I guess. What's up, Tavern? How you doing this morning? Alright, there's what we were looking for. Problem for opponent, they're holding Knight of Autumn in hand, and it doesn't do much against Magus. Just saying. You have a blue source in your hand? Or there's holding up Knight of Autumn? I mean, yeah, you can cast Knight of Autumn, but it really doesn't do you much good here. I would think you would have rather get a blue source for your Bring to Light. Because then you can Bring to Light for 3 and get whatever you need out of your deck to blow up Magus. Don't know what all is in their deck because they're playing a weird brew. So. Yeah, I don't think this is going to last much longer, though, Tavern, because people are already starting not to play in prelims. And Wizards tends to start paying attention when their money formats don't fire. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a nerf next week. Okay, looks like our opponent had a plan for the... The unfortunate part for them is we can exile their graveyard, so they don't get to flash the Firebolt back. Cast Valki again, see what's in their hand. We know they have Knight of Autumn and Bring to Light. What's their final card? That's kind of a... Eldamari's Call? That's mildly annoying. Nothing we can do about that. I think we just pass here. Like, sure, I could put another Tibalt into play, whatever. They're going to Eldamari's Call for Titan or whatever here. I guess they could get Dryad. Okay, Titan's completely irrelevant. We have an answer for that with Pulse. Or I can just exile it with a Valki and replay it. I mean, yeah, they're getting to fix their mana, which is kind of scary. We're gonna have access to all 5 colors now. Or aren't they? Nope. Apparently they don't have black in their deck. So apparently that's literally just for Scapeshift. Who's the primetime deck now? Curious what they can bring to light for. Like, Scapeshift doesn't do much here. Okay, bring to light for 4. You have like some type of Wrath or something. Anger of the Gods, sure. Plus Tibalt. We didn't find another... Didn't find another Blood Moon, which is unfortunate. I'm going to start by playing Valki, seeing what's going on with their hand. And then go from there. I guess I should have attacked with Titan first. Thinned our deck a little bit, increased the odds of hitting a Blood Moon there. The lines I can take here are swing with Titan. Do I have enough mana to kill them, actually? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I don't have quite enough to play Firebolt, Flash Firebolt, play Bone Crusher, or Stomp Stomp. I don't think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do I have enough mana? 2, 4, 5, 10? No, I'm one short. Well, I couldn't down-tick Tibalt because it requires -3. But is Violent Outburst enough? Violent Outburst, deal them 7. Actually, Outburst might be enough, right? Firebolt. Yeah, we have enough here. Firebolt this. Firebolt this. Deal them 7. And then Stomp Stomp. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. As long as we have a fetchable red source, we're good. That, and I also have a mountain there that I could have done the thing with. Yeah, I completely forgot about Violent Outburst being a point of damage. Yeah, there was a chance we could actually die on the untap, though. Like, if they had Scape Shift, or another Bring to Light, we could have died. So I just kind of wanted to get that game over. So yeah, it did kind of matter. Because Scape Shift or another Bring to Light was lethal there. So even if our opponent didn't have it in their hand, they could top deck it, and I really didn't want that to happen. Burn. Is this hand a keep on the play? If we're on the draw, this hand would be a snap keep. I don't know, though. On the draw, is this hand a keep? I don't know, Tavern. You're the expert. Is this hand a keep? I feel like we can do better on 6. I feel like I'm just going to mulligan this hand. Into a no-lander. I mean, yeah, I guess we keep this hand. Burn again. Bad burn players. Bad burn players. Yep. Is it bad? I'm hoping they play Eidolon here. I still think we're in a lot of trouble this game, but, you know. I don't think we can play a Valki here. Feels like they're chilling on a Searing Blaze. Well, actually my goal is to play ley lines and not lose to burn, but, you know, whatevs. That's my goal. But I played the winning list and promptly got smashed, so, you know. Sure, I guess we'll play a Valki here since we have no other relevant plays, and I'm not playing an Eidolon at 3. So we're dead, basically. I guess we bring in Blast Zone just for deafening silence, for whatever that matters. Feels like we basically run it back, you know, with these Mind Break traps being Mind Break traps. Do you have ley lines on your board, though? Moon has its place. I am more apt to board out Magus than I am regular Blood Moon, just because it's a decent Searing Blaze target. I think I ended up removing something like this and then bringing in these 5 cards and then just kind of calling it a day. Gotcha. Yeah, avoiding Eidolon is easier said than done. I mean, well, we don't have a Tibalt, so is this a mulligan? I mean, this feels like a mull, right? I mean, I don't think we're winning a fair game against Burn. Is this hand to keep or is this a mull? This is one of those hands that I'm just like, eh. I mean, I like it, but it's just, it's bad. I mean, against Burn, it's bad. Alright, this hand's much better. This hand is much better. Yeah, but the problem isn't the creatures with Burn. We can negate their creatures. Like, that's the thing. I'm never worried, unless they go really, really wide, I'm never worried about creatures with this style of deck. Turn 1 Goblin Guide, sure. Whatever. Thanks for the land. So what do I do with the Tibalt? Just tick it up and ignore what they're doing? Gotcha. To be fair, they'll probably ignore Tibalt, though. And I don't have a red source, so that could actually be a problem. Maybe I was supposed to fetch Shock there. Yeah, they're just ignoring Tibalt. Well, they bring in Deafening Silence against us. That's good to know about. Don't know that we're winning this turn, but, you know, things and stuff for 100, Alex. This turn seems to be the crucial one, although I do think we die on the untap, so I'm not sure this particularly matters. They have 4 cards. This will force their decision. I shouldn't have fetched there. Skull crack, skull crack. We're still dead because they can just skull crack us and then skull crack us again during our turn. Looks like the answer is I need ley lines in my sideboard. Yeah, we're just dead during upkeep here. Yeah, the fetching certainly hurt, but then we still would have had to win a game on the draw, which probably would have been a little bit tricky. Yeah, the fetch was as soon as I fetched, I knew it was a punt. So yeah, kind of a whatever chest there. Yep, the fetch, ding, near killed us. So I guess the crux of it is, do I want Mindbreak Trap or do I want Leyline? I mean, if we go by that league, I want Leyline. You know, if I were to turn around and play another league, I'd probably run into 3 Tibalt's Trickery decks and wonder why I didn't have Mindbreak Traps. Modern. It's a fuller mat, but, I mean, this deck's very powerful. I mean, obviously we saw any matchup that isn't Burn. This hand just feels like it's kind of nuts. Hey, thanks, Gargamel. I'm guessing that's supposed to be Gargamel. 6 Argamel. For the follow. Yeah. This deck's busted. I would say buy its stuff, but I think it's going to get banned here shortly, so you know, enjoy it while it lasts. Or go play something else if you hate Modern right now. Kind of figured. But blame Tavern for this crap. He's the one that kind of introduced the format to this stuff. I think people were thinking way too fair with Valki and just Bloodburied Elf. You know, I'm fine. It's kind of crazy. Like, I'm fine with a card like Bring the Light being able to fetch Tibalt, but I'm not cool with, like, Cascade into Tibalt. Just doesn't seem right. And it's kind of funny that the antidote to this deck is Burn. Or a variant of Burn, perhaps. Like, obviously I lost to it, but Tavern's there saying he doesn't lose to Burn, so, you know. Small decisions matter, like cracking that fetch. You know, I'm not sure we were going to have enough damage, even if we didn't crack that fetch, if they drew another spell. But it still would have at least bought us another turn, potentially, which could have been relevant. Yeah. This deck's busted. It does stupid things. We only lost to Burn. I mean, I have 3 losses with variants of this deck. One was to a very overly prepared blue-white opponent, and the other 2 were to Burn in this league. So, you know, I'm not quite doing as good as Tavern over there, but I'm still doing pretty good. But that said, I do need to start getting ready for work, so I want to thank everybody for chilling and hanging out today. I'm going to send you guys over on to Spike and call it a morning. Thanks everybody for hanging out today. Thanks to Tavern for ruining the format.